Ask me where brains go to broadcast.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we really try to navigate this huge ocean of information out there. We want to cut through all the noise and get to the insights you actually need.
It really feels like that sometimes, doesn't it? Drowning in data.
Absolutely. In the 21st century, it's everywhere. Every device, every social media feed, it's just a constant flood of facts, figures, opinions.
And the real trick isn't finding something, is it? It's finding the right thing, the reliable thing.
Exactly. Discerning what's useful, what's going to empower you to make sense of things, make genuinely informed decisions. Think of it like standing on the shore of this massive, churning information ocean. Our goal today is basically to hand you the compass.
And the navigation skills?
Right. The skills to find those pure, vital currents and avoid, well, all the digital junk floating around.
Okay, so where are we heading today specifically?
So let's chart our course. This deep dive is all about a truly crucial skill: how to gather reliable information both efficiently and critically.
It really feels like a superpower these days.
Doesn't it? Information is power. And mastering this process, well, it really is like having a superpower when everyone's got a megaphone shouting their version of the truth.
Yeah.
Our mission is to help you become a really media-savvy researcher, someone who can confidently tell the signal from the noise.
And that's not just for academics, right?
Not at all. This is foundational for everyone. Whether you're checking a news story, researching a big purchase, prepping for a work meeting, or just trying to understand some complex issue, this is key.
Absolutely.
We've pulled together a fantastic stack of sources for this deep dive, and they really lay out a clear, actionable path for sharpening those research skills.
What's really remarkable here, I think, is that it goes beyond just, collecting facts. It's about really cultivating a deep understanding of why some information holds weight, how to almost intuitively feel out its truthfulness, and appreciate the context. That's huge.
Context is everything.
It is. And the sheer volume of digital stuff we see every single day just makes critical evaluation more vital than ever.
Seriously. Without the right mental tools, you can absolutely drown in data.
And mistake opinion for fact. Or worse.
Exactly. Or fall for straight-up misinformation. So, to get you ready for this, we're going to explore the basic types of information you'll run into.
Okay.
Then we'll unpack some proven strategies for finding what you need efficiently in both print and the digital world.
Both are still important.
Definitely. And crucially, we'll give you a really solid framework for evaluating whether you can actually trust your sources. It's about building that robust mental toolkit.
So you can be an active, discerning user of information, not just a passive consumer?
Precisely. Moving beyond just accepting what's put in front of you.
All right, let's start by laying the groundwork then, because before we even jump into the hunt for info, we need to get our heads around the absolute building blocks of knowledge: primary and secondary sources.
Yeah, these terms get thrown around a lot, especially in academia. They do, but the distinction is genuinely important for doing good ethical research. So, let's clarify. What exactly is a primary source?
At its heart, it's direct. It's firsthand. It's the raw data, the original account.
Think of it like being right there when it happened, or getting the idea straight from the source before anyone else interpreted it.
Exactly. Unmediated.
So let's make that concrete. Give us some examples. If you're researching, say, free speech in the U.S.
Then the First Amendment itself, the actual text in the Bill of Rights, that's your primary source, the original document.
Got it. What about in science?
An original research article, the kind published in a journal that lays out the whole experiment methods data, the author's direct conclusions, that's primary, straight from the lab, basically.
Okay. And for literature, if I'm studying, Moby Dick.
The novel itself is the primary source, not a critique about Moby Dick, but Melville's actual words.
Makes sense. History.
Oh, tons of things. Personal diaries, letters from the time, government records, photos taken at an event, oral histories where people talk about their own experiences.
Direct accounts.
Right, and autobiographies, too. Someone telling their own life story. That's a primary source, offering that unique, often unfiltered perspective.
Understanding these really helps anchor your research in, the original stuff. Direct evidence.
Absolutely. And building on that, secondary sources are essentially one step removed.
Okay, explain that.
These are materials that talk about the primary sources. They discuss them, interpret them, analyze, consolidate, maybe rework the information that came from those primary sources.
So they add context or commentary.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
provide context, offer different viewpoints on the original material. So sticking with the First Amendment example,
Okay.
an article analyzing a big Supreme Court case about First Amendment rights, where the author breaks down the ruling and what it means, that's secondary.
Right. Or like an opinion piece talking about free speech today.
Perfect example. An editorial commenting on the First Amendment, exploring how we interpret it now, that's secondary too.
What else falls into this category?
Things like literary reviews, critics analyzing a novel, or scientific review articles where researchers look at a whole bunch of original studies on a topic and summarize what they found.
Kind of synthesizing the research.
Precisely. Identifying trends, maybe pointing out gaps in the research, even say a TV documentary.
Yeah.
While it might show historical footage, which is primary,
Right.
it usually weaves in expert interviews and narration to explain it all. That interpretation and commentary, that makes the documentary overall a secondary source.
So is one type better than the other? Primary versus secondary.
That's the key point. Neither is inherently better. It completely depends on your research topic and what you're trying to achieve.
Your purpose.
Exactly. Your purpose dictates which sources are most effective. Often, you really need a mix of both to get the full picture.
Can you give an example of needing both?
Sure. Let's say you're researching, I don't know, the impact of reality TV.
Okay.
The shows themselves, the actual episodes. Those are your primary sources. Raw material.
Right.
But then an academic article critiquing the whole genre, or a journalist investigating how contestants are treated, or maybe an interview with a producer talking about how the industry has changed.
Those are all secondary.
And incredibly valuable secondary sources. They provide the analysis, the outside perspective, the context that turns just watching TV into actual research.
Got it. What about something more scientific, like health effects of nicotine?
Same principle. The original scientific studies reporting their data, primary. But a big news article discussing the results of several recent studies for a general audience, that's secondary and really useful for understanding the public health conversation around it.
So the skill is using both strategically.
Exactly. Leveraging both to build a complete nuanced picture. This whole primary-secondary distinction, it really just helps you figure out which sources are most likely to answer your questions efficiently. It guides you.
Okay, that makes sense. A good foundation. So now that we've got that distinction clear, let's dive into something that might feel a bit old school. Print resources.
Yeah, in our digital world, it's easy to overlook them.
Right. But our sources make this great point. It's not wise to limit yourself to electronic sources only. Why is that still true?
Because there's just so much valuable stuff that still primarily exists in print, or is maybe easier to access that way through libraries. Deeply researched, peer-reviewed material often finds its home there first.
Or things that just haven't been digitized yet.
Exactly. Or content behind expensive paywalls that your library subscribes to in physical form. Ignoring print is like ignoring a whole chunk of knowledge.
So how do we navigate that print world strategically?
Sure.
Our sources have this helpful Table 11.1 library print resources. Let's break that down. First up, reference works.
Ah, yes, the starting points. Almanacs, encyclopedias, atlases, medical guides, like the World Almanac or the DSM.
They give summaries, right?
Oh,
Quick lookups.
Exactly. Good for getting your bearings, understanding basic terms. But they're usually many steps removed from original primary sources, and often pretty brief. Not for deep analysis, but great for orientation.
Okay. Then we have nonfiction books. These seem more substantial.
Definitely. They offer in-depth coverage. You've got your trade books written for a general audience. Think popular science, biographies, how-to guides.
This is the low-carb solution.
Right. And then you have scholarly books or monographs written for specialists, often dense with research, like that carbohydrates, fats, and proteins example. Very different audiences and levels of detail.
Got it. Next category, periodicals and news sources. This sounds broad.
It is. Anything published regularly, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. So newspapers like the New York Times.
For daily news?
Popular magazines like PC Magazine for general interest or consumer stuff. And then the really deep dives. Academic journals like JAMA. These are where cutting-edge, peer-reviewed research gets published for experts in a field.
So newspapers inform, magazines entertain or advise, journals advance knowledge.
That's a good way to put it. Different purposes, different levels of rigor.
Okay, what about government publications?
Huge category. Federal, state, local governments produce massive amounts of info. Reports, laws, court documents, statistics, census data.
Like the Census 2000 profile or a city's business guide.
Exactly. Often very authoritative, fact-based stuff, crucial for understanding policy, demographics, official data. Can take some digging, but it's solid information.
Lastly, business and nonprofit publications. What falls here?
Materials from companies, charities, organizations, often with a specific goal, right? Marketing, background info, promoting a cause.
Like a company manual or a news release from the Sierra Club.
Precisely. They can offer unique insights, but you have to remember their purpose. They're not usually aiming for pure objectivity. You need that critical lens.
That's a great overview of the print landscape. So it raises that important question. How do we actually find what we need efficiently and all that? Just wandering the library stacks isn't going to cut it.
Not usually, no. The first step, the really crucial one, is nailing down your keywords, your main concepts, your key terms. This comes from your initial thinking about the topic.
And there's a tool to help with that, right? The Library of Congress website.
Yes. This is such an underused gem. Their authorities section, id.loc.gov authorities. You search your broad topic, and it shows you the official subject headings they use.
And why is that helpful?
Because it gives you the precise terms library catalogs and databases use. Broader terms, narrower terms, related terms. So remember Jorge researching low-carb diets?
Yeah.
Instead of just low-carb, the site would point him to official terms like carbohydrates in human nutrition or glycemic index or carbohydrates metabolism, using those exact terms in a library search. Much better results. It's like speaking the library's language.
A secret decoder ring, kind of.
Exactly. And if you're still stuck, even with great keywords...
Talk to a librarian.
Absolutely. Never underestimate librarians. Our sources say it perfectly. Sifting through library stacks can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Librarians know the systems inside out.
They know how everything's organized.
Intimately familiar, they can point you to specific books, sure, but also give you amazing tips on using databases and electronic tools effectively. Stuff you'd never figure out on your own. Saves so much time and frustration.
And these skills aren't just for school papers.
Not at all. Think about business analysts researching market trends or nonprofits needing demographic data for grants. It's the same core research skill set applied in the real world.
That's such a great point about librarians. Real unsung heroes. Now, speaking of smart searching, here's a tip that works for library catalogs and online searching. Boolean operators.
Ah, the magic words. ND or not T.
Exactly. This is how you get really precise control over your search results, combining, limiting, expanding.
Most people know the basics, but using them well is key.
Right. Let's refresh. And or plus A. That narrows things down, right?
Yep. Search diet, AAD, nutrition. You need both terms. Good for specifics, but too much A and D can give you 0 results.
Okay. Then not orphan. That's for excluding stuff.
Yeah. Obesity, not childhood, filters out the kid stuff. Really useful when a term has a common but irrelevant angle.
And the one people often miss? Quotation marks. Crucial, right?
Absolutely critical for exact phrases. Searching morbid obesity in quotes finds only that specific phrase together, not the words scattered around. Invaluable for technical terms.
Keeps the search engine from treating them like separate words.
Exactly. Then you have parentheses for controlling the order.
Like in math.
Precisely. You could search type 2 or R, adult onset, and diabetes. That finds either of the first terms plus diabetes, lets you build really complex, smart searches.
That's powerful. And finally, wildcards, like hashtag or.
Yeah, the exact symbol might vary a bit by database, so always check their help section. But something like diabet hashtag could find both diabetes and diabetics. Catches variations.
Mastering these really makes a huge difference in efficiency and accuracy. Saves tons of time wading through junk.
Totally.
Okay, so we've navigated the world of print. Let's shift gears now to the big one. The sprawling, ever-changing digital frontier.
The electronic ocean.
Yeah, and the amount of information available electronically is just mind-boggling. It's grown so fast.
And the types of resources have exploded, too.
Totally. Some things, maybe an old TV show, might only be online now. Others, like a major newspaper, exist in both print and digital, each with pros and cons.
So what kind of electronic sources are we talking about here?
Well, there are the big online databases, which we'll get into more, CD-ROMs, though maybe less common now, popular web search engines, obviously.
Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo.
Right. Then entire websites from businesses, universities, nonprofits, government agencies, plus Newspapers, magazines, journals published online, ebooks, audiobooks.
Industry blogs have become huge, too.
Definitely. Archive radio and TV programs you can stream, even online discussion groups on niche topics. It's a massive dynamic ecosystem.
And it's a big but. That vastness comes with real challenges.
Which brings up that critical question. Popular search engines, the ones we use every day, they're convenient, sure, but what are the downsides for serious research?
Several big ones. First, and people often get this wrong, the order of results doesn't mean they're reliable.
The top hit isn't necessarily the best source.
Not at all. The first few hits might easily be user-edited wikis, personal blogs, biased sites. Search engines prioritize relevance based on algorithms, not factual accuracy. They discover, they don't vet.
Okay, that's crucial. What else?
The sheer volume. The web has vastly more information than any library system. If you get hundreds of thousands of hits, you can't possibly look at them all.
The truly good stuff might be buried on page 50.
Exactly. Virtually impossible to find without a much more focused search strategy. And third, remember, search engines don't endorse the results. They just list them based on popularity or keywords.
So you never cite Google, you cite the actual website you found through Google.
Precisely. Citing the source, not the tool, is fundamental for academic and professional honesty.
Okay, so given those challenges with the open web, how do we make web searching smarter, more strategic?
It's about being way more deliberate. First, as we keep saying, use those multiple keywords and Boolean operators relentlessly. They're your first line of defense against the flood.
Filter, filter, filter.
Right. Beyond that, use the advanced search link. It's usually tucked away, but it's your control panel.
What kinds of things can you do there?
Depends on the engine, but usually lots of useful stuff. You can limit results by date range, vital for fast-moving topics.
Like tech or current events?
Exactly. Limit by language or country. Sometimes you can even limit to just scholarly works online, which cuts out a ton of noise immediately.
What about file types or domains?
Yes. Limiting by file type, like PDF, can target reports or papers. And limiting by domain is huge. Searching only .edu for universities or .gov for government sites dramatically increases the chance of finding objective, research-based info.
Cuts out the commercial stuff or personal blogs if that's what you need.
Right. And a simple habit. Use bookmarks or favorites. Save promising sites as you find them. Save so much backtracking later.
Good practical tips.
Yeah.
But for really reliable electronic sources, especially articles, you mentioned databases before.
Ah, yes, periodicals, indexes, and specialized databases. These are indispensable, especially for shorter stuff like articles. What's fascinating here is their focus.
What do they actually do?
They systematically index articles from selected newspapers, magazines, and especially academic journals. They give you all the publication info, often abstracts or summaries, and increasingly, the full text.
So they're like curated collections.
Exactly. While some old print indexes exist, most research now uses online databases accessed through library websites. Your library might subscribe to dozens, even hundreds.
From general news ones to super specialized ones.
Right. Our sources mention examples like ProQuest for general news, magazines, dissertations, PsycInfo for psychology, Business Source Complete for business, Medline or PubMed for health.
EBSCOhost for general topics.
Yeah. The key advantage. The content is curated, often peer-reviewed, way more reliable and organized than a general web search. They're like organized libraries within the wild internet.
Okay, so once you're in these databases or just reading periodicals online, there's another distinction we need to make, right? Between popular stuff and scholarly journals.
Absolutely. This is where it gets really interesting and nuanced. They're written differently for different people with different goals. Understanding this is key.
Let's start with mass market publications.
Yeah.
Newspapers, popular magazines.
Right. They're written for a broad audience, accessible language, no heavy jargon usually. Their main goal is often to inform, sure, but also to entertain, grab attention, maybe persuade.
Like a news report, a lifestyle piece.
Exactly. They prioritize readability, broad appeal. Think of them as the engaging overview.
Okay. And scholarly or academic journals, totally different.
Completely different beast. Written for a small, expert audience who already know the topic well, highly specialized, assumes a lot of background knowledge.
And their main purpose.
Singular. To inform and advance knowledge in a specific field. Objectivity, formal tone, rigor are paramount. Entertainment. Not a priority. It's about serious inquiry.
And that difference relates directly to reliability.
Hugely. Because scholarly journals use peer review, other experts rigorously check the research before it's published. They are far, far more reliable than most popular media.
They've been vetted.
Intensely vetted. That dense, jargon-filled text isn't a bug, it's a feature. It reflects careful research and review. It's your best defense against bad info.
But they can be hard to read.
They definitely can be challenging, dense, technical, but don't shy away. They offer in-depth information you simply cannot find anywhere else. Essential for serious research or professional work.
Like Jorge needing medical journals for his diet research.
Exactly. Or a business owner using Business Source Premier for management trends. Or doctors using Medline for the latest disease research. These databases are vital tools.
Okay, so we've covered print, digital databases, the web.
Yeah.
But there's another source of information we shouldn't forget.
Right. Sometimes the best info doesn't come from a screen or a page.
It comes from people, other human beings. It sounds obvious, but it's easy to overlook in our screen-focused world.
It really is. Sometimes the freshest insights are just a conversation away.
So when should we actually think about interviewing someone as part of our research?
Think about topics where you need really current, specific, or maybe deeply personal insights. Things that haven't hit the books yet.
Like a super new industry trend, or a very local community issue.
Perfect examples. Or maybe talk to a professor with cutting-edge expertise. Or someone working in the field who has that ground-level view you won't find published.
Representatives from organizations, community leaders.
Eyewitnesses even. They offer first-hand info, unique perspectives, nuances that just aren't in written records. They're like living primary sources.
So if we decide an interview is the way to go, how do we make it effective? It's not just a casual chat, right?
Yeah.
This raises an important question.
Definitely not. Planning is everything. Contact them early. Explain your purpose clearly.
Set the stage.
Right. And prepare detailed questions beforehand. Here's a key tip. Focus on open-ended questions.
Questions that need more than a yes or no.
Exactly. Questions that encourage them to elaborate, tell stories. Instead of, do you like X? Ask, what are the biggest challenges with X and how do people overcome them? Gets much richer answers.
What about logistics?
Sort them out early. Schedule a time. Get permission to record if you want to. During the interview, take good notes, even if recording it keeps you engaged. And be ready to ask follow-up questions on the fly. That's where gold often lies.
What if meeting in person is tough?
Good point. Telephone interviews work fine. Even email interviews can yield great stuff if the person is willing. Just remember to be prompt, courteous, respect their time, be flexible.
These insights are often unique, right? Unavailable elsewhere.
Totally. They add that personal, immediate layer that can really elevate your research beyond just compiling facts. It brings it to life.
Okay, so we've gathered all this stuff. Print, digital, interviews. Now comes the big one.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know what to actually trust? Evaluation.
This is the absolute crucible of research, putting on your critical thinking hat.
And our sources give us that researcher's mantra. 2 key questions.
Always ask, is this source relevant to my purpose? And is this source reliable? Those 2 questions guide everything from here.
Let's take relevance first. Why is that the initial filter?
Because it's easy to just collect stuff without thinking how you'll use it. What's fascinating here is being a bit ruthless with your time. Reading and note-taking take effort. Focus only on sources likely to directly answer your questions.
So how do you figure that out quickly? Skimming.
Exactly. Master the art of skimming. Read quickly with your research questions in mind.
How do you skim a book effectively?
Read the dust jacket. Scan the table of contents. Use the index for your keywords. Flip through looking for relevant headings or terms.
And articles.
Read the introduction and conclusion first. Look at subheadings. Check for sidebars or summaries. And crucially, read the abstract. It's a mini summary of the whole thing. Super helpful.
And if it doesn't seem relevant after skimming?
Set it aside. You can always come back if needed. Discipline here saves massive amounts of time.
Okay, relevance filter passed. Now reliability. This is the big one, where it gets really interesting. How do we assess quality?
Yeah, this is critical because sources vary wildly in how carefully they're researched, written, edited, reviewed.
Some are obviously bad, like tabloids or sites full of typos.
Right. Common sense catches the really blatant stuff, but often lack of reliability is much more subtle. It takes a discerning eye.
So what criteria do we use? It's not just one thing, is it?
No, it's a whole package. You look at the type of source itself, its purpose and audience, the author's qualifications, the publication's reputation, any signs of bias or hidden agendas.
How current it is.
Right, currency, and just the overall quality, the writing, the logic, the design. It's a multifaceted check.
Let's break down those source types again in terms of reliability. Our sources have those rankings. High quality first.
Right. These are your most trustworthy bets. In-depth, expert-written, carefully reviewed, often peer-reviewed. We're talking scholarly books and journal articles,
Reputable magazines like Smithsonian.
government documents, reports from respected institutions like universities or research institutes. Textbooks and reference books are generally reliable too, though maybe less cutting edge.
Okay. Then the middle tier. Varied quality sources.
Yeah, these can be useful, but maybe less deep, not always as rigorously checked. Some might have a marketing or advocacy angle.
Like articles from reputable news sources, maybe Newsweek or PBS.
Exactly. Popular magazine articles could be good, could be iffy on fact-checking. Business and nonprofit publications use them, but be aware of their potential agenda. Use caution.
And the ones to generally avoid. Questionable sources.
These are usually written to get clicks or push opinions with little or no real review. Think unmoderated internet forums, personal blogs, those free online encyclopedias or wikis.
Talk radio, biased TV news.
Personal websites, chat rooms. It's the Wild West. Entertaining maybe, but not reliable for serious research.
This raises that important question again about wikis, like Wikipedia. Convenient, but
Hugely convenient, often top of search results. But our sources are clear. No control system for researching, writing, and reviewing articles. It's volunteer policed.
so okay as a starting point maybe.
Exactly. Use it to get a quick overview, maybe find leads in the bibliography, but never cite it as your final authoritative source. It's a gateway, not the destination.
Got it. Beyond the source type, we need to look deeper at the people and organizations behind it, right? Author credibility and publication reputability.
Yes. Evaluating the author's credibility means asking, is this person actually qualified to write about this specific topic? Check their credentials, experience, education.
And expertise in one area doesn't automatically transfer, right?
Crucial point. A physiology expert isn't automatically credible writing about Greek philosophy. The expertise has to match the subject directly. Like trusting an architect for brain surgery doesn't work.
Makes sense. And the publication's reputability. What's that about?
It's the source's overall standing. Is it known for being respectable, reliable? A major newspaper like the New York Times has more built-in reputability than a small college paper.
Or a well-maintained university website versus some random personal site.
Exactly. In academia, you can even look at citation counts for articles, how often others cite it. It's a rough measure of influence and acceptance.
Okay, credibility and reputability checked. What about biases? If we connect this to the bigger picture, almost nothing is perfectly objective.
That's a fundamental truth. You always need to think about the author's purpose and potential biases or hidden agendas.
Define bias again.
Favoritism, prejudice towards a certain viewpoint. It can lead to cherry-picking facts, distorting quotes, presenting info selectively to make one side look good or bad. Not always conscious, sometimes it's just a blind spot.
And hidden agendas.
Goals that aren't obvious but still influence how facts are presented. The classic example. An article on beef in the diet. Who wrote it? A rep from the beef industry. Or the head of an animal rights group.
Both would likely have an agenda influencing their presentation.
Almost certainly, like Jorge noticing the low-carb diet studies funded by a foundation linked to a diet book author. That doesn't automatically discredit the study, but it means you read it with a critical eye, aware of the potential influence. It's about critical awareness.
Right. Another factor.
Ooh.
Currency. How up-to-date does a source need to be?
It really depends heavily on the topic. Social networking research needs to be super current. Sources from even a few years ago might be useless.
But something like elementary education theory.
Might rely on foundational studies from decades ago that are still totally relevant. For websites, always look for a last updated date. Lots of broken links. That's a bad site neglect.
And if you're struggling to find sources that are both reliable and relevant,
Don't hesitate. Ask your professor. Ask a reference librarian. That's exactly what they're there for, to help you navigate these tricky spots.
okay, so we've looked at all these individual checks, but then there's an overall evaluation, right? A final quality check.
Yes, what's fascinating here is stepping back for that holistic view. Don't just accept things passively. Actively interrogate the source using a kind of mental checklist.
What kinds of questions are on that checklist?
Is the source type appropriate? Author credible? Pub reputable? Are ideas backed by specific documented facts? Is the info source clear, not too far removed from primary?
Any factual errors, faulty logic, Does it offer new ideas?
Do conclusions logically follow the evidence? Is the writing clear, organized, objective, free from extreme or emotional language?
Any obvious or hidden biases? Are graphics informative? Is a website well organized, easy to use?
And crucially, is it contradicted by other reliable sources? Distinguish different perspectives from just plain wrong facts. These critical thinking skills are valuable everywhere, not just school.
Absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
we've found the sources, we've evaluated them. Now, how do we manage all this knowledge effectively, avoiding the last-minute scramble?
Ah, yes, the organizational challenge. It's so important to establish a system for keeping track of your sources and taking notes right from the start.
Why? To avoid that panic moment.
Exactly. That feeling of, oh no, where did I get that quote? Or what was the URL for that website when you're trying to finish up?
Yeah.
Proactive organization prevents reactive stress.
So what's the key? Record info early.
As soon as you start using a source, record the essential bibliographic info. Pen and paper, electronic list, bibliography software, whatever works for you.
And our sources list the key details needed, right?
Yeah.
Like for a book.
Yep. Author, title, publisher, city, year. For an article in a book, all that plus essay title, author, pages, editor,
Periodical article.
author, article title, publication title, date, volume, issue, pages,
Online source.
author, if known, title, sponsoring org, database name if used, publication date, access date, and the full URL. Name, method, in-person, phone, email, date. Pro tip. Record it in the citation style you'll need, like APA or MLA, from the beginning. Saves time later. Maybe add library call numbers or your own code, S1, S2, for easy reference.
Okay, sources tracked. Now, taking notes efficiently, here's where it gets really interesting. You don't just copy everything down.
No way, waste of time. Your goal is laser focused. Record only what helps answer your research questions and support your conclusions. Be selective.
And use headings to organize.
Great strategy. Whether using index cards or digital notes, try to focus on one main point per note, summarized under a clear heading. Keep all notes together. Binder, master file helps you see connections later.
And this brings up that important question. When do you summarize, paraphrase, or quote directly?
Each has its place. Summary notes capture the main ideas very briefly, just a few sentences, good for broad concepts when details aren't needed.
Okay, paraphrase notes.
This is restating the idea in your own words and sentence structure. Our sources say this is usually a better strategy because it forces you to really think about the information, to process it, stay engaged. Most notes should be paraphrased.
And direct quotations.
Exact wording, always in quotes. Use these sparingly, only for really lively or memorable phrasing, or when the exact words are crucial for your analysis. Don't overuse them.
And accuracy is paramount in all notes.
Absolutely essential. Include heading, author source code, page number, full URL for online, always attribute. Use quote marks for direct quotes. Clearly separate your thoughts from the source material.
Check quotes are copied exactly. Check
Yeah.
paraphrases are accurate.
Yes. Use ellipses correctly for omissions in quotes. Double-check paraphrases against the original. Meticulousness now prevents problems later.
So what does this all mean? It boils down to finding a system that works for you.
Exactly. Personal comfort and consistency are key. No single method is best for everyone.
You could use traditional index cards. Encourages focus, easy to physically sort.
Or note-taking software. Faster typing, powerful organization features.
Or a research notebook electronic folder. Keep everything source by source. Easy to add your own responses right alongside.
Or, for experienced folks, annotating sources directly notes in margins, comments, and PDFs can be harder to organize later, though.
Whichever you choose, just be consistent. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground today. Finding sources, evaluating, organizing.
It's been a comprehensive journey.
So let's quickly recap this deep dive. We explored primary versus secondary sources, navigated print and electronic landscapes with tips like Boolean operators and databases.
Talked about the power of interviews.
Critically evaluated sources for relevance and reliability, checking authors, pubs, bias, currency.
And finish with practical strategies for tracking sources and taking effective notes, summarizing, paraphrasing, quoting.
And remember, this isn't just about academics. It's about becoming a truly informed person, able to cut through all the noise.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, our sources say it beautifully. Knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied.
So for you, our listener, the real deep dive starts now. Think about the next piece of info you see, news article, social media post, work report.
Which strategy will you apply first?
Exactly. Which of these tools will you use to really understand its value and reliability?
No.
What's one specific action you'll take starting today to be a more discerning information consumer? To move from just receiving info to actively, critically engaging with it.
The power to understand clearly, it's really in your hands now.
Qashqai me, where brains go to brine.